Hey guys, what's up? Something amazing is coming to Masterverse. I got news of it today, and we're going to go check it out because this is a pretty big deal. And then after we see it, I want to compare it to something because this also happened in Classics. And by pictures alone, I'm curious. You get what I'm saying? What's better? Let's check this out. Alright, here we are. We are back on Mattel Creations because this is where they drop the cool crap. Hey, I don't make the rules. That's what they do here. But check this out. Really, being serious, we finally have this coming. Until the Ultimate Gladiator arrives, Eternian Champion, Masters of the Universe, Vykron action figure. This is pretty cool. Because this is Masterverse's chance to bring the original He-Man design forward. Yes, the original thing, from what I understand, was that this was meant to be like a Barbie doll. And that he would get different outfits, and then of course just that was a play pattern of the time. It makes a lot of sense. And this was the idea, that the very first one that was brought forward were three ideas. Hey, I kind of made a spaceman, I made like a mecha tank action figure-esque army guy, and I made a barbarian fantasy guy. And evidently the main guy who was in charge of it all that they were showing it off to pointed at him and said, he has the power. That one, go with him. And so basically there was a decision made that instead of going the route of this idea that they would just change armors, we got He-Man. Because the barbarian was the coolest, so they decided that's what we're going with. Now, that's the history of the event in general. That's what basically brought all this forward. I don't remember exactly what the name of it was going to be or anything. I don't even know if the name was presented yet. But this was going to be it, guys. This guy is cool. Now, if I remember right, there was a Boba Fett helmet on this guy and different things like that. But, of course, now we're stepping into a more modern age, and if this guy was to be reimagined today and he was going to be like a space-esque dude or something like that, you can't really do that. You can't really do the Boba Fett helmet because, well, we know why, to be fair, right? We're not stupid about that. We know why. Well, check this out. Because I'm really liking this design right here. And here he is. We'll get a good idea. I prefer these bodies. I really do. I really like the Masterverse Buck. I think it's very solid. I think this is cool. And it's reminding me of something. First off, he reminds me of a jet fighter. Or an X-Wing fighter. Or something of that nature. Because he's got the thing here. And he's got the breathing cord and everything. But what I'm really starting to like about this dude, and I think the next picture is going to show it off real well, that, at least to me, this is like the Motu Rocketeer. Like, that's what it feels like if Rocketeer was done in Motu. It's actually really cool. I like this quite a bit. He's pretty cool. Let's keep looking here. We are going to have the windowless packaging, the closed box, but the last one of these I gotta hand it to Mattel. If we're gonna do these closed boxes, which I don't necessarily agree with, we've talked about the closed boxes, but if we're gonna do them, and I'm an opener, so this doesn't affect me the same way it affects some other people, this is the way to do it. It needs to be an event. This entire closed box has to be a sharp piece of art, or it doesn't work. And this is. That's really cool. I really like this. That is absolutely solid. That is a straight up Conan the Barbarian fighting skeletons. This is 100% amazing. That artwork, fantastic. But that's what I've come to expect from Motu in general, is the artwork. This is the guy I'm most interested in. Of course, I love Masters of the Universe for mostly its barbarian nature. I love everything about it. We've talked about this, why I like Masters of the Universe and why I think it's so amazing, but this is definitely the version of the guy that I want. Oh, and by the way, if we do buy this, we're limited to 3 per customer. That's a good thing because it means that more than likely I can get on exactly when he drops and I can pick him up, and it hasn't been that big of a deal trying to buy any of these for the most part. I haven't really missed out on ones that I've expressly aimed for if I get on there right when it launches. And that limit, I think, is what part of that helps. This is really cool. He's really solid. I really like that design overall. I think he's very, very solid. I like that he's got the big axe. I think that's cool. It kind of matches with the original artwork idea and everything. That's really good. This guy is really cool. This is the version that I feel I like the most. Is this barbarian here in the middle, of course. If I was the guy that was in charge of running the line, I'd have said the same thing. He has the power. Tank Man, kind of cool. Rocketeer, kind of cool. Him, he's the coolest guy in the bunch, personally, for me. And that could be different for different people, and I fully understand that. We're going to have to ask ourselves a very, very big question, though, in terms of this. Because it looks like we're not getting 3 characters. It looks like we're getting 1. And my guess is he'll come with different heads and then attachment pieces that will allow you to do these different things. So there's the tank guy. That's pretty cool. I like this dragon gun that he's toting around. That's pretty cool. And I like the face in there that you can see it and it's all closed in this kind of like tank dinosaur thing. That's really cool. I do think he is really solid. I think that's an absolute wicked thing right there. And I like that they got the Wind Raider behind him. I think that's pretty cool too. Okay, so we could do different armor sets in general. So that's the face on the inside then. That is really cool. I actually do really like that too. And this was my question. This is exactly what I was wondering. We'll get 1 figure. And then we'll get the stuff to make whichever one of these we want. Which bars the idea, if you want to display all 3 of these on your shelf, you either have to be under the impression that you're going to switch the armor in and out quite often to put them all on your shelf, or you buy the 3 limit. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That means this 1 figure right here could run your bank account. It's over $100. And with the shipping and handling, you're probably looking at like $120 if you want to be able to display like this. You want to create a shot like this, that's over $100. That's over a $100 picture right there. Because you don't have the bucks to do this. Now, there is a way around that. A lot of these He-Man type characters are currently going up for we see them on clearance a lot. So if you were to not necessarily care about the face on the inside, and I don't see that you would have to, you could make this guy from the main buck, buy it, make him, have 2 sets of armor, and if you needed this loincloth thing to be the fur loincloth, then we're looking at let's see. The buck that I see that matches it the most when I turn around with all the He-Mans sitting on the table, because I still haven't done the countdown video. With all of them back there, the buck that matches the most, that gives you this part right here, is the Revelation He-Man. He has this fur down here. And the other guy would be too big. The other guy that has the furs, the 40th anniversary, he would be too big. And my favorite one that has the leather cloth pieces those ones, like, you know, a lot of the other versions have the cloth pieces. That's if you're wanting to have this, then you would need to buy 2 of the Revelation bucks. They'll be a little paler than this, as far as I can tell. This guy looks like he's going to be a little darker skinned. But that should be okay. You put all these pieces on. Is that a head, or is it something that, is it a mask? That's the thing that I worry about with this. If that's a head, then it's really not a big deal. We don't have long to figure out what we want to do here. Barbarian of Battle. Let's read this. Let's figure out what's going on here. It says, from Eternia's past comes a legendary champion from the gladiator arena, Vykron. He took on all challenges, no matter the foe or terrain. Each victory, Vykron would claim the armor and weapons of his opponents. He would then take the time to master each weapon and their battle techniques, becoming a one-man arsenal in the ring. Okay. Masters of the Universe, Masterverse Vykron figure. 7-inch tall with 30 points of articulation. That's what we've come to expect. Comes with multiple swappable body parts, weapons, accessories, 3 different armor types by Barbarian Spaceman, Eagle Tank Helmet, and premium packaging. Yeah. $1 armors, and like I said, this is the toughest part, is I'm not 100% sure if that's a head or a mask. If it's a mask, I don't 100% know how you get it on there. I think that's a head. Let's look at the back of it. That's a head. So he comes with an extra head. That has to be what that is. That's a head. So it'll come with 2 heads, multiple hands, a couple of other ideas like that. That means that if you bought 2 original bucks, like I was talking about, just $2 of this He-Man right here, this head wouldn't matter much because it'd be hidden by the Eagle tank armor. And then the other one, you'd pop this head off and pop this other one on. And then you just keep that Vykron. And he has the shorts you need. This isn't the right color. But it wouldn't matter on the Rocketeer guy because he has a belt that goes over this. I'm just trying to think if you wanted to do it cheaper. You could do it cheaper. Now, the color tone of the body seems to match more with Viking He-Man. But it could be done. If you just wanted to... And the boots, I guess I didn't really look at the boots when I'm looking at them. They are the same color... they are the same boots, but because they're painted this way, and if you're really stuck on the idea that they'd be painted this way, you would have to paint them on the other buck that you bought, or you'd have to... Viking He-Man's as close as you're going to get. Viking He-Man actually has this part down here painted, and he's the proper buck, because 40th anniversary He-Man would be too big. The armors wouldn't fit on him, I don't think. Interesting. If you just bought one, you'd have to figure out what your favorite display is. Mine, of course, would be this. But I do like the idea, this Eagle armor thing, or whatever you call it, the gun show. The Eagle tank armor is a beast on the battlefield. With multiple turrets and battering ram, it makes Vykron virtually unstoppable. Barbarian of Battle, Vykron's Barbarian armor is for one fierce hand-to-hand combatant. His battle axe, helmet, and fur cape reflect the origins of this character. Yeah, which is solid. He's like the beginning of the line. He's the actual beginning of the line. It's really, really cool. He looks fantastic. I really, really like him. Then we have this Eagle armor here, this is really cool. This is another one that would be really cool just to display. But if you're going to display this, you're going to need an extra guy, or you're going to need an extra buck, like I was talking about. And then, of course, you come down here, and the Space Ace, the Spaceman suit, reflects the armor of Orion from the OG Masters of the Universe collection. The helmet with breathing tubes and jetpack let him take the battle into orbit. Cool. Also, it's just using the buck. Like I said, I don't think this guy would be that much of a problem. Yeah, the boots, you'd have to paint those if you wanted it to be absolute. And like I said, the loincloth here, the fur loincloth, seems to have only been used on the Revelation He-Man. Interesting. A storied history, originally created by famed designer Robert Sweet, Vykron evolved into the He-Man that we know and love. The packaging gives a nod to the original future figure design, which is exactly what I was talking about. It's pretty cool because it is exactly what I was talking about. Originally, he came in there with 3 Dr. Dolls, and he said, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. Action figure for boys, he'll be able to switch costumes, yada yada. Then those costumes will give him power, and then all of a sudden the guy was like, the barbarian guy. That's what we're going to do. And from that point, they basically reimagined the entire thing from the ground up at that point and said, so we're just going to do a barbarian line. We're going to make these figures from the ground up. And that pretty much changed the entire concept right there. This is really cool. But do you buy 3? And then if you do buy 3, you'll end up with a bunch of extra armor pieces. So that's a problem too. You'd end up with a bunch of extra armor pieces. So if you're looking to save money and you're not too super stuck on the belt here, right? You could, this is just a reuse and repaint of that buck. Of the Revelation He-Man buck. It's exactly what it is. It's got the fur on the bottom. It's got the same belt. That's what that is. So you could just buy 2 of those on clearance. I think they're super cheap right now, too. You could probably get them for like $10 or some crap like that. And just place these armors on them. And you would probably do just fine. Now, some people are very particular. And that's not what they're going to do. They will literally buy 3 of these so that they can display exactly what you're seeing here. I have to debate this quite a bit. My budget is only what my budget is, so I have to be real with myself. I want 1 of these. And if I was only ever to display 1, it's him. It's him. He's the one right there. That's what I display. If I want the armors, I either have to buy 2 more, which then I end up with a bunch of extra armor pieces. I don't know if that's good or bad, in all honesty. Or I do exactly what I was just talking about, and I buy 2 of the Revelation He-Mans, pop the heads off, and use them. Or pop the head off, because, like I said, yeah, this is really cool, but it's really something to think about. You're talking about spending over $100 to get the 3 of them. So now I'm curious. This was released in Classics years ago, and I want to see it. Okay, so here we are, just on a simple little Google search. All I did was type in Vykron Classics, and we're going to click this, because I want to see this little side picture here. This was from Pixel Dan. I'm looking at it. It looks fairly decent. There's the tank and everything. There's him with the helmet that I was talking about that's very much... You know, and this is very much the original thing. That's a really blurry image, but that's the original concept right there, is those 3 characters that were pretty much done up with putty and whatnot and kind of made and put out there. Looks like here's from Big Bad right here. You can actually buy it from Classics. That makes me curious in general. It's out of stock, but if I could see it on Big Bad, there we go. So that's it right there with the tank head and everything like that. I see that. There's him. There's the space one. And there's Vykron in the version that I like. So, guys, I'm going to say this again. And I know people don't like this comment. I know it. But I can't help but feel like there's some nostalgia wound up here in classics. It could very well just be me. But like, I don't think I like the bodies on classics. I don't think I like the way they move. The more I look at them, look at this guy right here, Tank Man. It's cool. It's fine. It somewhat matches it matches the original concept idea and whatnot. I mean, I get where they're coming from with it. But then, like, look at that Tank Man. It's a reimagining. It brings it up to a different setting. It's not a one-for-one idea of what the classics did. But if I was to tell you which one I prefer, Masterverse, just pictures alone, won. It won. Look at how cool that is. Look at that. That is really, really sharp. It is really cool. A spaceman. Like, I know the Boba Fett helmet and everything, but if you couldn't do the Boba Fett helmet because of licensing, how about you just don't do it at all? Like, because here I'm looking at this, and to me, the legs, that's a little big. That seems goofy to me. And it could well be because of the buck, that they're forced into kind of doing what they do with it. And if you can't do this, because you can't, and I understand they were going for a little more one for one when they did this, but like, here I look at this, and then I look at this, and this Rocketeer, his body seems better. This belt is a little cooler. The armor makes more sense. I really like this whole thing right here. That is... And this Barbarian. If that's the original concept, and it is, and this is what Classics got, which is solid... But I would still argue his boots come off as a little goofy to me. His hat kind of comes off as a little goofy to me. This is fine, but actual soft goods fur is better. And this right here, that axe, I don't think is as good. This guy's better. I just keep coming back to this. Don't I? For what it's worth, I am not trying to cause like a thing. And I'm not trying to be like, get over your nostalgia. What you guys like is what you guys like. I would never argue against that whatsoever, because I completely believe that we're all going to like different things for different reasons. And there are certain things that are going to speak to you that don't speak to me. And I already said it. If you're looking for a more one-for-one recreation of the original concept, this is not it. And Classics nailed that a little more solid than this did. But if you're looking for something personally that has the attitude, look, and core design way better in the reimagining, and that's what I feel Masterverse is a reimagining of this material in a modern day figure, Masterverse wins. I find myself time and time and time again saying that Masterverse is what I prefer, and it's just true. And it's in so many different ways. I don't want to pay the ridiculous prices to get these things in Classics. I don't. I'm looking at one on eBay right now. And it's sealed, and it costs $140. I'm looking at another on eBay that's $125. Here's one that's not bad. It's sealed, and it's 80. One for 88. Here's one that's open for 80. Another one that's sealed at Mercari. Mercari is asking like $100, $72. Just the armor, $45, $105. And I'm just clicking through sales here, seeing what these are actually selling for. I look, $140, and this is the same argument, by the way. It's one figure that you could swap all the armor out. But if I was to try to get this display for myself, okay, and get all three of them on the shelf, authentic, all three, with Masterverse, which I honestly feel is better to begin with, we're looking at $35, $35, $35, plus 16 or so shipping and handling, roughly, because we got to get them from Mattel Creations. And so, like, yeah, you're looking at like $140 somewhere in there, maybe, when everything's said and done. And that's the price to get all three of them on your door. And yet here, we would have to shop around. And if we shopped around enough, I'm finding them at $80 and $75, but then I'm finding them at $140. And you gotta make sure that the stock lasts. So you may end up getting two for $80, and you may have to bite your tongue and get a 110 or 130 or 140. And like, that price point, personally, brings the figures down. It does. To me, one of the things that hurts classics is the price, because people have this belief that classics is the greatest run in Motu history. And maybe it was. Maybe it was. Okay? I can't argue that. I don't have one. I've never opened one. I don't know if I'll ever have one because they're really expensive. And when I do find them in the wild, somebody's got just a He-Man and they're asking for like $100+ or $80. I saw one at a comic book store, unopened, and it was $180. And I said, "You're out of your mind. There's no way. There's no way. It's too much." Especially when I personally have some of my all-time favorite He-Man figures or Barbarian figures in general right there. And look, let's bring this up too. Let's bring this up. Classics. To get one character can cost me $140. $140. But let's put this into perspective here right now. That is what they cost now. And so, if I'm doing collecting right now, because I missed out back then, so I'm not comparing the price back then, I'm comparing the price of what it would take to own one right now. If I got to pay like $140, and I'm looking for something cool Barbarian-wise, I'm just going to go to Storm Collectible. And I'm going to buy that back there. What's that? This Tyrus Flare, $140. She comes with the dragon, flame effects, multiple hands, herself. She looks unbelievably cool. That's a $140 figure. This is a $140 figure. This is what that kind of price should net you. You should get multiple heads. You should get high articulation. You should get photographic. You should get a figure that photographs very well. I mean, you should be able to do some amazing action figure photography with something that you dropped over $100 on. And personally, to me, I've never thought that Classics does that for me. It could just be me. Oh, there's my dog. I guess my video's just about over. Yeah? You ready to go outside? Is that what's going on? Dog's ready to go outside. So I'm going to let her out and I'm going to get out of here. But like, I hope you see where I'm coming at with this. I'm not trying... I know, baby. I'm not trying to hate Classics. I'm trying to explain where my mindset is. Baby, I'm trying to explain where my mindset is when I say that I don't want to buy classics, because right now my budget, baby, I know, I swear I'm almost done. When I talk about classics, it does come down to its price point. If it's going to cost that kind of money, then with my buying budget right now, I get $100 a month to spend on action figures. This or one classics figure. And maybe to you, it's worth it for the classics figure. I can't argue that, because we're all going to be into different things. But when I talk about liking Masterverse and I talk about not caring for what I see in classics, this is where my mindset's coming from, and that's all I'm trying to do is explain why I see it the way I do. Not demean the fact that you see it the way you do, because if it's worth it to you, baby, I swear I'm almost done. I'm just ranting. This is my last couple sentences. If it's worth it to you, then you should get it. Because my collection and my opinions should not necessarily dictate what your collection is. Your collection should mean something to you, and my collection should mean something to me. And all I'm trying to do when I talk about why I dislike classics is explain where I'm coming from, not necessarily influence the idea that you should or shouldn't think the way I do. Anyways, guys, the dog really wants to go outside. Lexi's not keen on sitting here and listening to Motu, so I'm going to let the dog out, and then I'm going to finally start filming that video back there, because that's overdue. Later on, guys.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.